ever found yourself with just way too many random parts from previous projects? Yeah, me too. And that's why today we're making a ragdoll to use up all my stash. But not just any ragdoll. We're making Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And not just regular Sally either, because that wouldn't do much of a dent in my ridiculous amount of stuff. So, meet Pumpkin Queen Sally. So, for our costume breakdown, we're gonna be making a little crown. You know those fancy crowns that have like a little red pillow inside and then things around it? We're gonna do that, but with a pumpkin. And, you know, some thingamajiggy. The dress is gonna be, you know, Sally's dress, but bigger. Because, you know, she's a queen. So we're probably gonna be using the crinoline from the Emerald Witch and building on top of that. We also have to make the skin suit because she's blue and I'm not painting my whole body blue. Forget that. I'm too much of a mess to do that. So we're making a skin suit. It's also easier because it's all stitched up, you know, on the arms and chest, and even the legs are stitched up, so skin suit. And finally we have the wig, which I'm probably gonna be making out of wool because it fits the texture that it kind of looks like it has on the movie. And that's just what you'd use for a ragdoll, isn't it? So it makes sense. And that's about it for our costume breakdown. Now let's get to work. Let's start from the top. And the top is the wig. Sally is a doll, so it seemed appropriate to make her hair out of wool, because that's usually what you'd use for a ragdoll. In the movie it looks really dark, but all the illustrations always show her hair as red, a really bright red. So we're mixing a bunch of colors into this wig. Because I want to, mostly. I think it will look cooler if we mix in some orange and pink and a nice shiny brown, just so it's not all so colorful and bright. I need me a bit of darkness here and there. I made the base of the wig blue to match Sally's skin, not so much the hair. Then I started layering with different amounts of each color into each layer. The bottom layers have more orange and pink mixed in, and the top ones are mostly just red, a tiny bit of orange, and brown. A lot of brown. I think it looks pretty great, to be perfectly honest. I didn't expect it to look so good. But that's the beauty of it. Sometimes, just sometimes, you end up with something even more brilliant than you imagined. Next we have the pumpkin crown. Because a queen needs a crown, right? And the pumpkin queen should have a pumpkin crown, I think. So first we made a pumpkin out of cardboard and air dry clay. Next we need the actual crown bits. They are cardboard too. From a cereal box this time, because it's smoother. We made a round base to glue the pumpkin to, out of cardboard too, and then hot glue everything together. Doesn't look like much, so now we decorate. It's a crown, so it needs some shiny stuff, and it's a Halloween themed town, so we need some spookies as well. I decided to go with bones, cause, you know, Jack. She's his queen, so it should show on her crown, right? I made some hot glue skulls and bought some skelly hands and got to decorating. I also noticed most crowns have some fancy stuff on the base, so I grabbed some random pieces of tulle and lace trims to fix that up, and added some shinies there too. To cover up the weird bit at the top, I used some leftover gold cord braids, wrapped around the cardboard with hot glue, and covered it in shinies as well. I maybe should have made the pumpkin bigger, cause you can barely see it with all the other stuff, but it's too late now. We have a week till Halloween. Maybe next year. I'm running out of time as usual, so we took a bit of a shortcut and just used a shirt that was the right blue, more or less, and cut out the bottom half to make some gloves. Made the shirt tighter so it can pass for a doll's skin, and added the stitching to the arms and collar. For the legs, we looked for some blue stockings and stitched them up as well. For the stripy socks, I painted some white stripes on a black fabric and made some leg warmers, because it wasn't quite big enough for socks. Now we just need some black boots to complete it. For the dress, as usual, this project started with some pattern making. I started by turning my base patterns of my body into a dress and then cutting that apart as close to the reference as I could. Then I went through my stash to find a bunch of pieces of leftover fabric and old clothes that looked the closest to the reference and started cutting. All the pieces for the dress have a seam allowance of 1 centimeter all around them, so they fit a little better together. To make it puff up, I used the crinoline from my Sullivan cosplay, so I don't have to make another. I also used an old corset from a project I never finished to make a lining layer so I can pin the pieces to it and make it easier for myself. Since now I have a base, I can just pin the pieces on top of the lining that I put on the mannequin. And now I just sew everything together. I'm using a sort of a zigzag stitch, but with a little extra long stitch in the middle, because it kind of looks like a Frankenstein stitch, which fits Sally pretty well. And basically just sew one piece on top of the other, like you do in quilts, I think. At least that's how the one lady I knew that did it. And it looked pretty good, so I'll do the same, I guess. And now we just have to do some decorating. I used some hot glue skulls on that too, and ended up making a hot glue ribcage kind of thingy that goes over the dress, because it kind of lagged. shininess. I mean, it's a queen's dress, so it should have plenty of fancy stuff. So let's do that. I hope you enjoyed that little reveal, because it took me quite a bit more effort than usual to get that done. It's been raining quite a bit since Halloween, and not just a little rain, like full-on storm for like 2 weeks. So did have to do it in here. But anyway, we got it done, and hopefully you enjoyed. This year's been quite exhausting, and my brain needs a little bit of a break. So this is probably gonna be my last cosplay of the year. Probably gonna need a bit of a break to figure out next year. You're welcome to give me ideas. If I like it, I'll make it. So subscribe to see if it gets done. But most likely we're just gonna start the end of the year stuff now. You know, the usual cast plans versus reality, blah blah blah. And probably whatever plans we can come up with. I wanted to start maybe, I don't know, doing commissions or whatever next year, because I gotta survive somehow. And these are my only skills. We'll see what happens, I guess. For now, I guess I'll see you next time. Hopefully.